for the 12th and final time. We're live. Welcome to Brazil, Sao Paulo for the Brazilian Grand Prix, round 12 of season 4. As we start Q1, and this will be the final race for the season, as we said. And this will be the race where the championship will be decided. 22 points is the gap between P1 and P2 in the championship, and we have 2 points for pole, 2 points for the fastest lap, and of course the points that will be awarded after the race. It will surely be something to watch out for today, as Milan is the first of the Mercedes cars to go out of the pit lane. Joey is already out of the pit lane. As we're looking to Davey and Black Box, who will win the championship of TFL Season 4? Davey currently leads the standings with 22 points over his championship rival Black Box, but don't count him out as of yet, because the race is a wet race, as I'm getting from my assistant in the race. So the race will be a red race, and of course we know that might spice some things up, as Milan now goes for a lap in the Mercedes. And Milan, having proven he's a very fast qualifier, needs to up his game in the races, but I'm confident that he is able to get a better result today. And he should be able to get into the top 5 winning Q3. I'm confident that he can get the top 5, as he says a 16.605 after the first sector. Now it's up the hill, and in 2017, just after clinching the world title at Mexico, Lewis Hamilton shot it off here in his Mercedes, allowing his teammate Valtteri Bottas to take pole position. And now it's Milan in the Mercedes going off track and getting a invalidation. So that means his lap is not valid. As we now look to Sven, who is on a hot lap in the Alfa Romeo. And of course, Alfa Romeo having a new driver pairing for next season, as Joey sets the first lap of 109.6. Alfa Romeo new driver lineup of Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas, as we talked about earlier, who got pole position here in 2017, but who will take pole position here today? We have to get through Q3 to see who will take pole, but first Q1 and Q2, as our championship challenger Black Box is still in the pit lane, as Ecos Steph sets a 107.9. Davey is still in his garage as well, so both cars in the garage. Let's go to Milan because he's on a hot lap as well. TFL Shane in front of him in the Haas, as Sven now sets the fast lap 107.325, 6/10 faster than Ecos Steph. Oh, Milan loses the car! Oh, he's lucky that his car is not damaged, at least his front wing is damaged, but that the damage is not terminal, as Ono now crosses the line. It's a 108.5 for him, but it is invalidated, so he goes for another lap in his Ferrari. Shane, meanwhile, starts a lap on the medium tire, no, completes a lap on the medium tire. It's P3 for Shane, 108.0. Now it's the Alfa Romeo TFL Jerry van Bussel who goes for a hot lap. Let's go on board with the Alfa Romeo. Misses the apex, but keeps it validated, which a lot of drivers haven't been able to do. Still, our championship rivals are not on a hot lap. Davey is on his out lap though. Jerry sets a 17.1 after the first sector and it validates his run. Now let's go on board with the championship leader, who is on a medium tire, mind you. So don't expect P1 from him, but it is to get through to Q2. And using the medium tires now is not at all a weird decision. Normally you would see these tires being used in Q2, but with the rain that is forecast for the race, as Honda goes at 107.8. With the rain that is forecast for the race, it doesn't matter which tire you are starting the race on. So that means you don't have to qualify on the mediums in Q2 to start on the mediums. You will most likely start on the inters or the wets, which is why Dane thinks it's a good time in the qualifying session to use the medium tires now, as I think Yagizan now gets to the finish line. Yagizan sets a P2, 107.4, but it's Davey on the medium tire. Let's see what he can do. Championship protagonist, what can he do on his medium tires in the McLaren? Davey goes for 108.0, P5 for the McLaren driver, as now the Alpine driver of, let's see, I think it's Noah Jones. Yes, Noah Jones, crossing the line and going for a lap. Opening the DRS towards the famous corner where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen clinched in the latest edition of the Brazilian Grand Prix, the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix, as Yagizan in the middle sector lets through some cars. Shane going into the pit lane, I suppose, and to watch Jerry van Bussel now is completing his lap. Let's go to Jerry first. Jerry now from P11 to P7 sits at 108.7. Let's go back on board with Noah Jones, and his Alpine is purple in the middle sector according to the minimap, and the Aston Martins in formation are on their outlap. Milan also on his outlap, and Noah Jones now coming towards the finish line, opening the DRS and going into the pit lane. He doesn't have enough fuel, so he wasn't actually on a hot lap, but he does not have a lap as of yet. Ecos Steph now starting his lap, and Davey going into the pit lane. Let's go on board with, let's see, Andreas is on an outlap. I think the Red Bull of Fruitful is on an outlap as well. In the Red Bull, where he took pole position with in Baku, his one and only pole position. It was an extremely good pole position. Can he do some magic here today? Can he get pole position at Brazil? But first he has to get through to Q2. And currently, as of the time being recorded, Joey has a 109, and then is Andreas 3 seconds back in the danger zone as well, 112.3. I think Andreas can improve pretty easily on him on that time. Through the middle sector, the infield of Interlagos, as Julian goes to 107.1 in the Aston Martin, fastest of any driver. So goes provisional P1, 2 tenths faster than TFL Sven. It's TFL 1, 2, 3, with Julian, Sven and Yagizan completing the top 3. And now it's Fruitful with the 51.1 after the second sector, accelerating out of the real final corner, and now towards the finish line he goes, opening the DRS now and letting the engine do all the work. He crosses the line to go P6, a 107.7, 6 tenths down on Julian. And let's look at Yagizan is coming out of the pit lane. Kaya is now on his medium run, so also using the medium tires. Towards the finish line he goes, and it's 108.2, goes P12. So that is a time that he is safe with for now. Andreas, 107.5, but it was an invalidation, so it doesn't count. Yüksel going into the pit lane, set P7 in the process, and I think Jerry van Bussel goes for another lap. Yes, he now goes for another lap in the Alfa Romeo. So let's go on board with him, as behind him on track, our championship leader is now beginning on his lap, as Jerry van Bussel invalidates his run at the Senna S's, and Noah is on a out lap as well. Fruitful is on an in lap, and behind Noah is Ecos Steph. Ecos Steph also invalidated his run. Yagizan is now starting his hot lap. So let's go on board with the championship leader, who is on the medium tires again, so he hopes to improve his time on the mediums. Remember, only one driver will be eliminated at the end of this session because we have 16 drivers participating, and Black Box, who was a few moments ago in 16th position, now crosses the line, goes P2, just 7/100ths of a second behind our current driver in P1, Julian, as Davey misses the apex completely at the hairpin in the infield. And now stops his run and now goes for another run. Let's go on board with Shane. He's on an outlap, and Kaya is on another lap. He's on the medium tires, 1/10 down on the time he previously set. Can he improve his lap time significantly so that he is safe for Q2? Still Andreas in a danger zone with a 1:12.3, not a representative lap time from Andreas, as Kaya goes almost 4 tenths faster, 3.5 tenths, and that will put him at a 1:07.9 around Ono or Davey. So P10, P11 I think is the time that he's aiming for now. It's P10 with a 1:07.8 high, as Black Box goes into the pit lane, and the Ferrari of Ono is on an outlap, and just in front of him is Joey on his hot lap. And continuing on, who's also on an outlap, is the teammate of the man that is currently on P1. It's Yüksel in the Aston Martin. So let's go on board with Yüksel, braking for the Senna SS, taking a lot of curb on the inside, confident on the throttle, but cutting the track on the inside, and that means his run is invalidated. Now, still Andreas in the pit lane. Steph invalidated his run. In front of him is Shane. Shane on the medium tire still goes into the pit lane. As Fruitful completed a new hot lap and improved by 3 tenths of a second now, or 1:07.3. And I think Kaya does not have any fuel anymore. Hopefully he can get out of the way of all the drivers. Yagizan is on a lap, so let's go on board with the Turkish driver. Through Sector 1, the Senna S is extremely satisfying if you get it right. Sven has retired in the pit lane, as has Steph, and Milan did it a few minutes back. So still 5 minutes on the clock, and in the danger zone Andreas, and on the cusp of elimination Joey, if Andreas can't get a lap in this session. Jagizan in P7, trying to improve his lap time, trying to go for that P1 that Julian is holding right now, as is yellow sector 2. I think that is a Red Bull, and that means the Red Bull of Fruitful does not have enough fuel anymore, so he's on low fuel mode. As Yagizan now 1.5 tenths faster than he was previously, so he's aiming for a 1:07.2, and that will put him 1 tenth off of pole position. Now crossing the line, and he goes provisional pole. Provisional P1. Is not going for pole position yet. So he lost a lot of time on his previous run in the final sector and made up for it on this run. And it's the first 1:06 we've seen today, a 1:06.971. As Ferrari of Ono is now starting his hot lap, and Yüksel behind is completing his hot lap, 1:07.7 he has at the moment. Now crossing the finish line, Yüksel goes into the pit lane, so he does not complete his run. Ono in the Ferrari, meanwhile, 41 thousandths of a second up on his previous best attempt, as Yagizan does not have enough fuel anymore as well. Fruitful has retired in the pit lane. You can see Yagizan on the bottom right hand corner in the infield, going slowly with a yellow flag being waved in the second sector. That is for Yagizan, who does not have any more fuel. And Ono saying he did not train a lot for this race, so I'm excited to see what he can do. 1.5 temps slower than he was previously, so 107.8 for Arno. Can he improve in the third sector, opening the DRS right now? And I think he's going for another run, giving the wide entry. No, he's not going for another run. Oh, he spins, so he keeps it on track. Yes, he keeps it on track. Jagzan retiring in the pit main, and behind Jerry van Bussel. Oh, he invalidated his run, so I think he's going for another run here in the Alfa Romeo. Shane is in the final sector now, as is Davey, going into their hot laps. And judging by the engine noise we're hearing, Jerry is not on a hot lap anymore. Let's go on board with Shane in the Haas. And he's P13 at the moment, and if he gets P13 in Q2, I don't think he's satisfied with that. He knows he can get a top 10 start here at Brazil. But we haven't seen the pace from him yet. Of course, he went on the medium tires, so he couldn't do much better than a 108.0. Of course, Davey said a 108.0 as well. Okay, now going through the hairpin as there's a yellow flag ahead. That's for the Alfa Romeo with insufficient fuel. As Shane is almost 8 tenths faster than he was previously, so that is the benefit of the soft tire, which means he's about 1 second down. Hopefully for him, after the third sector, it will be a 107.2. It's P6 for Shane in the Haas, and that's more like it compared to the position he was previously in, P13. Now Davey crossing the line, going for another run on the mediums, because a 116.4 is not good enough for a top 10 start. Just practicing for Q2 and Q3, I suppose, because I think they're already safe. Joey improved his lap time significantly and is now on a 108.1. Does Joey have the pace to get out of Q1 on pure pace and improve by 1/10 of a second? Let's go on board with the Ferrari. He is 2 tenths faster than he was previously. So Joey now has the ability to knock out some drivers out of qualifying, as Andreas gets out of the way of Joey. Still, Joey has not invalidated his run and is still on his hot lap. 2 tenths faster in the first sector. Can he keep the pace going in the second sector? In the infield, he is going a bit wide through some of these corners, but oh no, Joey! He spun around, and that means Joey is out of qualifying, and Arno out of qualifying as well. So it's a disaster for Ferrari. P16 for Joey, P15 for Arno. He is through to qualifying too, but Arno not having the result he wants, and Yüksel still on the run, goes into the pit lane. Andreas in the pit lane as well, and that means we're saying goodbye for the final time this season to Joey, who almost made it out of Q1. Arno improved his time to a 107.8. That meant that Joey just had to win a few more hundredths of a second in the second and third sector. Unfortunately for him, he just couldn't do it. And we now wait for Q2 to start. And getting through from some of my contacts in the race at the moment, the race will be wet when we start. When the lights go out, it will be a wet start. But towards the end of the race, dry weather is forecast for the end of the race. So we might see a race from inters to dries, or from wets to inters to dries. That may depend on the intensity of the rain, as we still wait for this qualifying session to end, and it now has ended. And that means Joey, first to be knocked out of qualifying here. And Jagi's fastest. Jagi's fastest by 1/10 of a second. Can he keep his streak going from the USA? Of course, Jagi's took pole position at the USA and looked like the driver to beat in qualifying. Can he keep that going? Julian behind at the moment in P2. He, of course, won the race in USA last time out, coming from outside the top 10 and had tremendous pace that race. Noah Jones, P3. Good debut for Noah. As we now wait for Q2 to start. And as we wait for a few drivers to get out on the track, let's get the standings for going into this round. So after the USA, Davey leads by 22 points from Black Box. We've said that already. Now Milan goes out of his pit box. But behind them, it's Julian in P3, Damiano in P4, and Yagizan in P5, separated by only 10 points. Yagizan 10 points behind Julian, and Damiano 9 points behind Julian. So 1 point between Damiano and Yagizan. Remember, Damiano is not here, teammate of TFL Davey, but he should join later on because he's late from work. And hopefully we'll see a tremendous battle here this race for P3 and of course for the Drivers' Championship as well. As most drivers go out on the soft tire, it seems. Only Yagizan and Julian are on the medium tire. Might they think, as Julian now switches to the soft tire, as Yagizan is out on the medium tire, might he think that the race starts in conditions good enough for the dry tires? Because I'm wondering why he's using the medium tires here in Q2, as Milan, through the S as he goes, opening the DRS. Looking at the weather forecast, I think it will be Inter tires, but who can tell? As Milan, teammate of Black Box, and being teammates, they have had their fair share of battles this season, and the best battle I can remember was from Portimao, Milan versus Black Box, where Black Box overtook Milan with an awesome move at turn 1 and through to the DRS detection zone towards the hairpin. And Milan, as we said previously, a beast in qualifying, but hasn't had the results in the race that he would have wanted. But what can Milan now do in qualifying as Ono sets a 107.3 in the Ferrari. Milan gets through to the line and sets a 107.1, the new benchmark, as Yüksel goes a 107.7. It's Sven with a 107.1, a few 100ths of a second behind Milan, as now I think it's Noah Jones going to provisional P1, 107.0, as Julian now crossed the line to start a lap. And the two Alpha Towers crossing the line as well. Kaya going P4 and Yagzan going P7 on the mediums. But this man, Noah Jones, is on provisional P1. Debutant in TFL. And let's go on board with Julian. As I think Steph crossed the line in P6 now. 107.4. As always, at this track, times are so close. And now, P1 only a few 100ths of a second back. We've seen gaps a lot smaller than that in TFL Season 4. Might this be one of the venues that produces one of the closest margins for pole position we've seen today, up to today. As Julian now goes towards the finish line. Can he beat the time set by Noah Joseph 107.0? He can. It's a 106.971 for Julian. And goes into the 106s himself. He looks at Yagizan, says, I want a 106 on my own. And sets a 106.9. Good time from Julian. It's now Noah once again goes for a lap, it seems, on used soft tires. So let's go on board with Noah. What can he do on the used set? As Davey, I think, now is going to cross the line, our championship leader. Oh no, Noah loses his car and is done with the run. And looking at Davey, I think he messed up on his hot lap because he's in P12 at the moment with a 113.7. Being 22 points down, Black Box needs to win the Grand Prix. That's for certain, because if Black Box gets second place, and he gets pole position, and he gets the fastest lap, he'll be equal in points with Davey. But because Davey has more race wins this season, 3-2, that means Davey will take home the championship. So if Black Box doesn't win this race, as Black Box is on his out lap, he loses the championship. So he needs to win the race. As now Black Box goes towards the line to start his hot lap. Let's go on board with the Mercedes for this entire lap, braking just behind the 50-meter marker. Not getting as much on the curbs as other drivers do, but can he get a slipstream from Yagizan? No, he can't. Yagizan gets out of the way nicely, opening the DRS now and going towards the left-hander, braking at the 50-meter marker once again, taking a lot of curb on the inside and keeping it within the white lines. Now it's up the hill and then a double right-hander, not losing a car in this right-hander is key for your lap. Now it's going towards the infield, not getting a validation on the entry, and down towards the hill and up once again. It's a real roller coaster, this infield section at Interlagos. Now the hairpin, the right-hander, gets nice traction out of the corner. Now towards the final rear corner of the circuit. It's a 50.4 after the second sector, and on the power he goes, and he has to trust on the Mercedes engine to do the work. He's opening the DRS right now. Towards the line he goes. Black Box is in P14. Can he get into the top 10? He can get onto P1. It's a 106.969, and he shows that he has got the pace to get pole position here today, and that is actually very crucial to his campaign. He needs to get a good starting position today, and getting P1 in Q2 is exactly what he needs, and he needs to replicate it in Q3. As now Yuxo crosses the line, goes P8 107.262, and the the Mercedes teammate Milan, teammate of Black Box, is starting a lap as well. Mercedes, a team with a lot of pace, have not won the Constructors' Championship this year. That honor goes to McLaren. Can McLaren make it a double, or will Mercedes at McLaren split the two championships? We'll find out today. As Milan now goes through the double right-hander, braking for the right-hander once again. And down the hill and up the hill he goes. Remember, in 2019 Max Verstappen on his first run in Q3 and got pole position by a few thousandths of a second. I thought it was from Sebastian Vettel, but he made a mistake at that part of the circuit, which we saw, the real roller coaster part of the circuit, getting onto the curb and touching the grass, which lost him a lot of time. Still getting provisional pole on that run. And now Milan going towards the finish line, and it's a 106.7, and Milan goes provisional P1. It's a Mercedes 1-2 here at Brazil in Q2, and they are showing their hands. Mercedes have a lot of pace, and Milan is happy with that run. You can hear it just from his shifts in the car with the gearbox. As now I think it's Andreas, yes, Andreas in the Williams crosses the line, If we are Andreas, what can he do? Can he get out of Q2? On the soft tire now, opening the DRS. And the Williams driver on the cusp of elimination the entire time in Q1. Now, in P15 as well. So, Andreas needs to get a lap in. Same goes for Fruitful, who's still in the pit lane. Jerry van Bussel, Yagizan and Onno are also in the danger zone. I'm pretty confident that Yagizan can improve his lap because he set his lap on the medium tire. Andreas cutting a lot of the curb on the inside. Don't think that's the fastest way to go here, as Andreas is lagging a little bit. It's a 51.4 after the second sector though. It's pretty good sector time. What can Andreas in the Williams do? And now opening the DRS, going towards the line. Andreas can make it a 108.1, so he's P13. And that's not what he wants to see. Jagizan, being now in the soft tire, only in sector 1, wins 1.5 times back on his previous lap. Of course, it's all down to the tire. But he needs the time to get out of the danger zone now. Almost 7/10 of a second faster, so he's on. Oh no! Yagizan spins coming out of the final corner, and that means the Turkish driver has to go for another lap. But does he have enough time to set another lap? He gets out of the way of the Ferrari of Onno. And Fruitful now starting his lap as well. He's in the danger zone 2 in P15. Showed that he had pace in Q1. Set a 107.3. A 107.3 is not good enough at the moment for Q3. So at the time he set in Q1, he won't get through to the top 10 qualifying. But can he improve on his time set in qualifying 1? He invalidates his lap. Gets off the power immediately to just conserve his tires, not using them up and wearing them as much as he should do when he's on a hot lap. Jerry van Bussel improves by 7/10 of a second, but is still in P13. Can he improve even more? I think Noah is on a hot lap as well. Noah gets out of the way. Just gets on to the grass. Steph is retired from this session. Onno is improving by 71 thousandths of a second. That might put Yüksel in the danger zone. So let's see what Onno and Ferrari can do. Onno goes P11. So he did not improve ultimately. So that means Onno is still in the danger zone. And Yüksel on the cusp of elimination. 38 thousandths faster than his previous attempt in the Aston Martin. Now 60 thousandths of a second up on his previous attempt. So if he can't improve in this final sector, and that's just say the final corner, because keeping a line close to the left hand side of the road as he invalidates his lap, he's 75 thousandths of a second slower than his previous attempt anyway. But the final sector actually just being one real corner and then the straight, and if you keep the shortest distance towards the finish line, you should only lose or win time in the final sector. Now Yagizan set 107.7 with the medium tires, spun around after the second sector. Ferrari gets out of the way. Yagizan improves by 8/10 of a second. That's even a bigger improvement than he did previously. 8/10 of a second will put him at 106.9. Will he be the fifth driver even to go into the 1.6s? Yes, he does. It's a 1.6.901. P2 splits the Mercedes up in front. Now Noah gets into the pit lane, and the car behind, I think it's Andreas, going for another hot lap, and behind him it's Yüksel. Does he go for another lap? No, he gets into the pit lane, and that means Yüksel is out of qualifying. Yüksel out of qualifying does not have enough time to set another lap as Kaya has retired from the session, thinks he is through to Q2. Fruitful is on the lap in the Red Bull, as I think Andreas spun around. Yes, Andreas spun around and is out of qualifying as well. Fruitful trying to get out of qualifying as well, out of Q2 at least, into Q3. He's improving by 16 seconds and 5 tenths of a second. Of course, his lap time was a 1:24. But that might be around 1:07, 1:08, of course. Time that most drivers are setting. But what can he do? It's a 1:07.1. He's in P10, so he's just into Q3 as he now is pushed out. He's pushed out by Onno, who's now in P10. So they traded places, and Onno back into P10, Fruitful in P11, eliminated here in Q2. Shane has been eliminated as well, and Andreas is out as well. So, Fruitful, Shane, Yüksel, Jerry van Bussel and Andreas out of qualifying, and it's Milan who's fastest, a 1:06.7, as on the line Sven goes for a 1:06.986, 3,000 of a second faster than Kaya, and we already have 6 drivers into the 1:06s. And what can the other drivers do in the top 10? So it's Onno, Noah, Davey, Steph, Kaya, Sven, Julian, Blackbox, Jagizan and Milan through into Q3. Fruitful, Shane, Yüksel, Jerry and Andreas eliminated. As Davey is still on the lap, it seems. He's 1/10 up after the first sector. Can he improve? He is now 11 seconds faster. I think he made a mistake somewhere. Fruitful knows he's out, goes into the pit lane. And out of qualifying. And we wait for Davey to cross the line now to end the qualifying session. So every driver has now crossed the line. And we wait for the game to put us through to Q3. And just a few seconds waiting for that to happen. A big surprise for me, Shane being out of qualifying, but looking at the gaps, it's pretty close up front. And it's getting more exciting as we go on. So I think the gap to the elimination was, yes, only 4 tenths of a second. And the gap between Onno and Fruitful in the end was only 15 thousandths of a second. And Milan, probably the biggest gap in this entire grid we have now. The entire field of 15 drivers participating in Q2, except for Yüksel and Jerry van Bussel, which is like around 6 tenths of a second. But Milan in front, 1.5 tenths faster than Jagizan. And once again, Jagizan in P2, previously in P1 after qualifying 1. And he is going for pole position. And the one driver that absolutely needs to get pole position to help his chances of winning the Drivers' Championship is Blackbox in P9 at the moment, because nobody has set the lap time as of yet. Blackbox needs to get pole position to get a better chance of securing the title. Pole position to a race victory, would surely help his chances of winning the Drivers' Championship. But still, it's an uphill battle with Davey only 22 points in front, and that's a lot of points for Blackbox to improve on and to gain just one race. Nonetheless, it's been a fantastic battle the entire season, and now we're getting towards the finale. As we have a final qualifying live now. And of course, in the qualifying session, Blackbox now behind Davey. Will it be the same for the race? Black Box getting past Davey in his outlap. Julian, the only driver still in the pit lane, as Ono will be the first of the drivers to start a lap here in qualifying. In the Ferrari, let's put on some telemetry and lap data. So. And now he crosses the line, Ono, to start his first hot lap in Q3. Hitting the apex nicely, and once again for the second apex, through to the left-hander, and now towards the straight. It's DRS open now. And towards the left-hander he goes, braking just after the 50-meter marker, going over the curb fully, staying within the white line nicely. And now up the hill he goes. Through the right hand he goes, hitting the apex nicely once again, missing the apex on the right hand side, but that's the way to take it. Taking a lot of curb on the inside, Ono, and now hogging that left hand apex, shifting up through the gears, and now the right hander hairpin in the infield, where we saw Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon collide in 2019, throwing away the podium chances that Alex Albon had in that race. Of course, Max Verstappen won that race from Pierre Gasly, and Carlos Sainz was promoted to the podium from P4 after Lewis Hamilton got his grid penalty. For Ono now, it's a 107.3. Don't think that's good enough for pole position. No, it is not, because Sven already set a 106.951. Now it's the Mercedes of Milan going provisional pole with a 106.7. Then behind, Jagi-san goes a 106.9. Kaya goes at 107.1, and now it's a Black Box towards the line. He goes, he makes the Mercedes 1-2 with a 106.7 himself, and Davey can only manage a 107.2. He's 5 temps down on Black Box. Now towards the line Julian goes to start his hot lap in the Aston Martin. And Noah Jones is on a hot lap as well, as he probably invalidated his previous attempt. But Black Box nicely in P2. Would like to go one better though, onto pole position, but a gap between the teammates on the front row is only 39 thousandths of a second. So EFR Milan and FVR Black Box pretty close at the moment. Of course, Black Box, previously known as IFR Black Box, made the step over to FVR. And is trying to get the title in TFL for FVR. As now Noah Jones crosses the line, goes P3 on 106.8, still a Mercedes 1-2, as most drivers return into the pit lane. Is there another driver on hot lap? Yes, Julian, of course, is on his hot lap. Goes now with a 107.2, P8 only. P8 for Julian, a previous race winner. Only P8 now at Brazil, and he validates his next lap. I don't think he was on another hot lap though. As the first runs in qualifying 3, looks like the Mercedes duo is going to be a pair to be reckoned with in this race. As we wait for the final few drivers to go into the pit lane. Jones going into going into the pit lane, as well as Julian. Doesn't have enough fuel for another run. So 6 minutes on the clock, and let's talk about the circuit. Of course, the circuit is known as Interlagos, and if you watched any race whatsoever at the circuit, you know what this stands for, and it means, of course, between the lakes. And because it's between the lakes, that means the circuit has its very own microclimate. Just as we said of Spa-Francorchamps, having its own microclimate because it's within the mountains. And this circuit, because it's between two lakes, that increases the chance of rain interfering with the race, as we saw in 2012. Awesome race to watch. 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix, of course, Vettel being crowned a third time world champion at that race. Fernando Alonso just losing out by a few points to the Red Bull driver, as the first cars are already on their way out, and it's Yagizan, the first of those cars to go out of the pit lane. He drives very slowly though out of the pit lane in neutral, and now shifts up the gears, and out of the pit lane he goes. Ferrari Ovano overtakes him on track to start his hot lap first. Still a lot of time on the clock left though, so these drivers out early, definitely. Will that be the right choice? Or are they going for a multi-hot lap? So they might be going for now an out lap, hot lap, and then a cool off lap, and a hot lap once again. But that won't be the best thing for the tires. Of course, they degrade, which means they will be slower on their second hot lap if they will do an out lap, hot lap, cool down lap, and another hot lap. But still 4 minutes left, so that is a possibility for those drivers. So now Ono on the main straight is going for his second hot lap, currently P9. Would dearly like to improve that, as Damiano has joined this session. The McLaren driver is now in the qualifying session but is not participating. Yagizan is now crossing the line. Let's go on board still with the Turkish driver, nicely hitting the apex on the left hand side, on the right hand side, and once again on the long left hander, opening the DRS towards the next left hander he goes, and it's purple sector 1, 1/10 faster than he was previously, and that's a very good first sector time for him. Now through the infield he goes, and he almost loses AlphaTauri, just keeps it together, but he does lose a lot of time by that mistake going into the right-hander, the double right-hander. Now just overshoots the corner a little bit here on the airpit, and he knows that the lap is not good enough. Milan is on an out lap as well, and Jagizan in front of him, just warming up his tires a little bit more. You should think his tires are up to temperature by now. Noah is not on a hot lap. I think Steph is on a hot lap. Yes, Steph is on a hot lap, so let's go on board with the Alpine drivers. Damiano has joined once again after leaving just a few seconds ago. Yellow sector 1, sector 2, and that's because of the Ferrari going slowly, Ferrari Ivano going slowly to let pass one of the Mercedes cars. I think that's a Mercedes of Milan on his hot lap. Now Steph crossing the line. Where can he go? It's a 106.9. He goes P5, and Jagizan once again faster off the first sector. Kaya also on a hot lap. He invalidated his hot lap, so he is not going to improve. Noah Jones also invalidated his run, and behind him it's Julian, improving by a few tenths of a second. It goes provisional pole. Provisional pole for Julian in the Aston Martin. Where did that come from? Julian in P10 is now in provisional pole. Can go for another lap though to try to improve his pole position time. And Milan is trying to improve as well. Is now 41 thousandths of a second faster than he was previously. So currently, with that delta gap, he will go on to provisional pole position once again. Can he go for a 106.6? Milan crosses the line, goes to 106.6 low, and takes back for provisional pole position. Trying to cross the line to start another lap, I think, and it's Davy in P4 now, after crossing the line, improving by nearly 5 tenths of a second now in P4, and the sky is getting gloomy here, and that means surely rain is on the way, as Steph now goes P7, and behind him is Noah Jones, improving by almost 2 tenths of a second. That means he's going here for provisional pole. Where can Noah go? Can he go provisional pole? Yes, he can by 0.02 of a second. He's on provisional pole. And the Aston Martin of Julian now goes into pit lane. He isn't able to take back his provisional pole position. But still, on a lap is Black Box. He's 2.5 times slower than he was previously. So he is now going for his final hot lap. It's behind Ono as well, going for his final hot lap. This lap needs to be perfect from Black Box. And it is not perfect. He's in P4, isn't able to improve because qualifying is over with just a few seconds left. Sven now crosses the line, goes P9, not improving on his lap time. And there's a few cars still trying to improve. Steph, 1/10 slower than he was previously, and spins after hitting the curb. Davey trying to improve again. No, he can't. Davey won't improve his lap time. Milan won't improve his lap time, goes into the pit lane. And one driver trying to improve, I think it was Yagizan, or no, it was Kaya. He wasn't able to improve. But this means Black Box not improving. Ono not improving. These are the standings. Noah Jones in his debut race for TFL takes pole position from Milan by 0.02 of a second. A 106.618. Wow. And Milan so close behind. Once again on the front row. And Julian, his provisional pole position taken away from him at the dying stages of this qualifying session. And looking behind, P4 and P5, of course, Black Box and TFL Davey alongside each other. Black Box on the second row, Davey on the third row. And this will prove something spectacular for the race. So please, in the comment section, who do you think is going to be the champion of Season 4 of TFL? Will it be Davey or will it be Black Box? The gap in the championship is 22 points in favor of Davey. And only 27 points left on the table. And looking at the gap, 0.02 of a second. Wow. Still can't get over it. Noah Jones, P1 by 0.02 of a second. And it's Milan alongside him on the front row. Then Julian in P3, a previous race winner, with a 106.709. Then it's Black Box from Davey, from Kaya, from Yagizan, from Steph, Sven, and Ono rounds out the top 10. As we now wait for the race to start here in Brazil. So once again, post in the comment section, who do you think is going to take the championship home tonight? Will it be Davey or will it be Black Box? Joey in the comment section now reading it. He was 0.3 of a second faster on his last hot lap in Q1, so he was able to get out of Q1 if he could put the lap together, but unfortunately he did not make it through to Q2. But looking at the screen now, looking at the track, it is dark, it is gloomy, it is raining here at Brazil, as we knew already. But what drama will this bring to the championship? What drama will unfold here after a few minutes after the formation lap has ended? We are waiting for the drivers to ready up, to select their strategy, to select their setups. Maybe adjust some setup change, adjust some of the setup to the wet track. But we'll see. We can't see who and what they change on the car now. But they might change something that suits the wet track a little bit more. Now, we are on the grid. It's Noah Jones on pole position, and it's Milan alongside him on the front row. We are getting ready for the final race of TFL Season 4. And looking at the tires, I think those are wet tires. Is there anyone who's on the inters? No, there is not. Damiano has left the session. He's in the Red Bull. Of course, he is driving for McLaren. So the points he'll score this race are going towards the points tally of McLaren. That doesn't matter though, because they are already Constructors Champions of Season 4. This season that wasn't good enough for a prize, being Constructors Champion. But next season there will once again be a prize for Constructors Champions. As once again for the top 3 in the championship. And we are waiting for Damiano to set up his car on the final grid position in P17. And Noah, his debut race in TFL, can he do the thing that every debutant wants to do and win his first race in TFL? He's heating up his tires, but remember, it's a wet track, and heating up your tires is a bit pointless on a wet track. Milan alongside in the Mercedes. Julian behind, and looking at the point of view of Davey, he sees his championship rival Black Box in P4. What drama will those two put on at the start? They are going to line up for the final time in 2021. We are getting ready for TFL Season 4 to end with a banger of a race here in Brazil. I think the final car of Damiano is now at the back of the grid, so we are waiting for the lights to go green. 3, 4, 5 lights on now for the final race, and the lights are now out. I think Noah Jones got a good start. He is in front of Milan still. And Black Box on the inside immediately goes to P2 alongside his teammate. Can he take the lead of the Grand Prix? Black Box takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but Noah still alongside. There's contact all the way back in the field, and no! Davey crashes out. Is he out of the Grand Prix? No, he isn't. But it's an ideal start for Black Box. This is carnage. A lot of carnage at the back of the field, and it's a safety car. And the drama that happened at the start leaves Black Box in the lead of the race. The ideal situation for Black Box has happened, and Davey has a broken front wing. Noah Jones relegated down to P2 from pole position, but an amazing start from Black Box. Milan in P3, making his Mercedes 1-3 at this moment in time, and it's a safety car. Julian is out already. Julian making contact at the start. There's drama at the start. And Fruitful having a penalty for a collision with Davey. Unfortunately, those 5 seconds will be in at the pit stop. So that means at the next pit stop he will lose 5 seconds. And whether or not the collision was his fault, his 5 seconds will be added on to his race time in the pit stop. But what a start to the Grand Prix. So much happening at the season finale as Black Box continues on, and Fruitful into the pit lane because he needs to get his 5 seconds removed. Also in the pit lane, of course, Davey to get a new front wing because he does not have a front wing at all. But this, for Davey, the only thing he had to do was just score a little bit of points, and that task might not be that easy, being down in P13 at the moment, only in front of Fruitful, Steph, and Jerry van Bussel. So as it stands, Black Box wins the championship by 3 points. And stay tuned, because this championship will go down to the wire. Okay, looking at the back of the rest of the field, only focusing on Black Box and Davey for a moment there. But with such drama at the start, what can you do about it? So Black Box from Noah Jones Milan, as we talked about, good start from him. Still in P3 though. But Black Box, with that magical start, got to P1. It overtook Jones, Milan and Jagzan. So Milan might have had a good start, but not good enough to keep Black Box, his teammate, behind. And at the moment he absolutely needs a good start and absolutely needs to nail everything in the race. Black Box is going for this championship. He's hungry for the championship. As Yagizan, what has he done? Did he go off track? There is no front wing damage seen, but he lost 2 positions as Milan has gotten a penalty. I wonder for what. Let's look at the incidents. Milan, severe collision with Yagizan. So a collision with Yagizan put Yagizan 2 positions down, and he has 5 seconds worth of time penalties. Okay, so that's the reason why suddenly Yagizan is all the way down in P8 after making contact with Milan. Milan dearly would like to hold on to a podium finish here, because that would be a lot of points for him. Of course, he got a pole position. Don't remember which track previously, but he got a pole position, but never a lot of points. Did score some points, but not a lot of points, as he does have a lot of pace. But can he now score a podium? I think that's the aim for Milan. And Milan would want to do everything to help his team in Black Box to get the win in this championship, as now the safety car is in this lap. Black Box is holding up the field because the safety car is not in the pit lane as of yet. Looking behind, so very close behind, as now we wait for Black Box to start the race once again on his wet tires. And he has gone. Black Box on the power, as there's a few drivers who have gotten into contact with each other. It's Arno, Kaya and Sven all getting 5 seconds worth of time penalties, as Davey now gets into P12. He's almost into the top 10 already, as now Davey is overtaken by Jerry van Bussel. Joey is at the back of the field. Let's go to Davey. Davey making a mistake, it seems, and it's so close here in front as Shane made a mistake in the Haas. Davey behind them all, 4 wide almost into the left-hander. There's contact between Yüksel and Shane, and Davey still in P14, as now Steph is almost alongside Shane. Oh no, Fruitful for Davey overtakes Davey as well. So Fruitful making a good restart in P14, as Davey tries to stay out of any problems whatsoever, as Shane and Steph make contact. Fruitful involved as well, as Fruitful now tries to get past Shane. Oh no, they make contacts, and that means Fruitful and Shane are off the track. They get back onto the track, and now Shane is spun around. Fruitful back onto the track, not losing as much time as you might have thought he would, but now Andreas relegated down to P10 by Jerry van Bussel, and Damiano made a good start in all the drama in front of him. Now Andreas tries to make a move on Jerry van Bussel. Jerry van Bussel tries to make a move on Damiano. Will he go for the inside? Yes, he will. Damiano leaves the space, and there's a little bit of contact once again as Jerry van Bussel goes off track. Damiano leaves in the room, but still it's Damiano in P8, Jerry van Bussel in P9. Jerry has the inside for the left-hander now. Will he go towards the inside? Yes, he will. There's contact between Damiano and Jerry van Bussel, and both of them go off. It's hard racing, but fair racing, as we've seen already. And now, no! Andreas making a mistake, and that means he's at the back of the field. Davey moves up into P12, Fruitful into P13, almost closing up to the rear of Davey already. After making the mistake with Shane, I don't know whose fault it was exactly, but the contact made it so that Shane and Fruitful now need to get back, need to win back a lot of time. As Steph very close behind Juxol. And Black Box creating a nice little gap at the back, in the front of the field. As Steph now gets a good exit out of the final corner. Black Box goes for the fastest lap of the race, 19.4. Now Steph pushing a little bit of ERS. Juxol tries to defend, does not push as much ERS as Steph. It seems Steph going for the inside on Juxol. Juxol still around the outside. The number 32, Aston Martin, hangs on to the final points being positioned, but Steph gets a good exit out of the final corner. He goes in the slipstream now, activates the ERS as well. Will he go for the inside on Juxol as Andreas gets a 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane as he has retired from the race. And now Davey is alongside Steph. They make contact, and Davey, opportunistic move from the McLaren driver into P11. And Fruitful almost losing his car behind as we momentarily switch to him. Looking at Davey behind Juxol, being held up by Juxol massively, it seems. Juxol does not have a lot of pace, as it seems, from the onboard of Davey. Oh, going through the right-hander hairpin, losing a lot of time, Juxol, to Davey. Does he have damage, maybe, Juxol? As I think Andreas is on track trying to retire, at least his AI is trying to retire. As Juxol now gets a bad exit out of the final corner. Black Box once again setting the fastest lap of the race, and the AI of Andreas retires now on the right hand side of the road after the left-hander of turn 4. Yes, as Davey now goes for the inside on Juxol. They make contact as Davey now is back into the points being position, but it's still not good enough for the championship lead. Oh no, Juxol spun around and he loses front wing is out of the race, it seems, as his tire is now off his Aston Martin. It's a virtual safety car, and that means the gaps in front will be maintained. Shane and Joey both move up one position. Juxol has left the session. Jones holding a 1 second gap, around a 1 second gap to Black Box. I think he's just over a second, a gap further up the road from Noah. Black Box needs to win his race for any chance to win the championship, as now there's a safety car. So full safety car, and that means some drivers might go into the pit lane. Black Box will go into the pit lane, as will Jones, going for a new set of wet tires. Or will they go for the intermediates? Let's go on board at Black Box. Swen Sweeting in the pit lane. Yeah, they will go for the inters. So how many drivers will go into the pit lane? Black Box is held up. No, he is not. That was just a visual glitch. Milan, his 5 seconds with a time penalty will be taken off the Mercedes driver now, as some drivers chose to stay out on the wet tire. Joey is one of them, and Shane is one of them as well. Shane now into the pit lane, and Joey is momentarily in P4. Will he cross the pit line in time for him to stay in P4? Yes, he will, as Noah Jones gets a 5 second time penalty for a collision with Black Box. And luckily for Black Box, he didn't get a 5 second time penalty, but Noah did get a 5 second time penalty for the collision. That might be removed later on after the race, but if we go to dry conditions, there's nothing we can do about it. Davey already in P9. With the gap, 22 points. Black Box gaining 25, so the gap will be reduced to 3 in favor of Black Box. Davey scoring 2 points still means Black Box wins the championship at this moment in time. So Davey still needs to do everything he can to win the championship. Black Box is doing everything he can in front of the field to win the championship. He can't do much more, then winning the race, just like Felipe Massa versus Lewis Hamilton in 2008. Massa won the race, but Lewis Hamilton passed Glock in the final corner of the race, and Noah Jones now goes in the pit lane, as does Joey, to switch to the inter tire. Yagi-san goes in the pit lane as well for the 5 seconds to be removed. Swen stays out in P2. Joey switches to the intermediate tires now. And Noah Jones' 5 seconds will be taken off of his end result. So that means a 5 second won't be added to his result that we have of the race. But this pit stop chaos has left Davey in P7 of the race, which means he now does gain a sufficient amount of points if Black Box wins to win the Drivers' Championship. But still, anything can happen here today in Brazil. And the last few years, Brazil hasn't had a wet race. The last wet race around Brazil, of course, was in 2016, where we saw a certain Max Verstappen battling his way through the field after his team set him on a wrong tire strategy, put him at the back of the field, and he went on to finish P3 in that race behind Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Now Black Box, his second safety car restart of the race. This is the most nervous a driver can get, but Black Box keeping good hold of his emotions, it seems, and getting a good restart. Swen is not going to overtake Black Box into turn 1, it seems, but behind Milan might make a move on Kaya. No, he does not. Behind Jerry van Bussel, makes contact with Davey. Jerry is spun around at the restart, and now Joey and Noah also battling, and Yagi-san getting in front of Noah, it seems. And in front, Kaya is still behind Swen. Fruitful in TP9 after some mistakes and some contact made. Don't know if it was his mistake, but he is nicely up into the top 10, into the points picking positions. Shane, the guy he made contact with, is behind him at the moment. And in front of them, Davey in P7, with behind him Steph from Fruitful, from Shane. Now it's a bit of a train, but we're waiting for something to happen in the race. Someone to make a mistake. As it looks like Steph is lagging a little bit, so let's not go on board with Steph. As I think he's pushing a little bit of ERS. Davey now needs to push a little bit of ERS himself. He stopped pushing as Black Box now is going for the fast lap in the race. 17.523 on the inter tire is 1 second already gone from Swen, so he has a comfortable gap at the lead of the race. Now Steph is still pushing to get close to Davey to try to make a move on the McLaren driver. It's oh so important for the McLaren driver to keep hold of this P7. Has he been this nervous all season? I don't think so. After the start where everything went wrong for him, he's now back into the points being position, but one simple mistake can ruin his chance of his first championship. Sails a train down towards P12 from P2, so from Swen to Noah. From then on out, the gaps are a bit over 1 second. Fruitful improved by 1 second. That tells me the track is improved by a radar, not a sweat. Steph makes a mistake as Davey also tries to make a move on Ono in the Ferrari. Davey tries to make the move on Ono in the Ferrari. He's pushing a little bit of ERS. The championship leader getting around the outside of the Ferrari. Can he make it work? No, he can't. Needs to stay behind the Ferrari a little bit longer. Now getting a better exit out of the Senna S. Can Davey now push sufficient amount of ERS to get in front of Ono? He's on the left hand side of Ono. Ono squeezes him to the left hand side. He's in front of Ono. They still side by side. Ono pushed off the track a little bit, but I think it was fair racing. Ono is still pushing his ERS though. Will he get alongside Davey? No, he makes contact with Steph. And Ono is spun around on the track. And the Ferrari now on the back foot in the last position on the grid in P14. As Steph made contact with Ono, with the Ferrari. And he is now behind Davey. Davey 1.3 seconds behind Damiano, his real teammate. Does not look like their teammates because Damiano's in the Red Bull and Davey is in the McLaren. But Damiano driving for McLaren all season. And joining a little bit later in this race. Which means game will hand you a random car for the race start. And in case for Damiano, that was the Red Bull and not the McLaren. So it's still pretty close here as the gaps at the front of the field are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Noah Jones, by removing his 5-second time penalty as Ono is retired in the pit lane, is still in P10. I think he lost more positions by pitting than by gaining than by losing time from the 5-second time penalty in the race itself later on. As Steph is closing up on Davey, on the McLaren driver. Can he make a move? Davey going a bit wide at the hairpin. The gap down to 4/10 of a second. The heat is on here in Brazil as the AI of Ono now gets out of the pit lane. And the NF's on track. That's a thing that the AI does. So that is not the fault of Ono. Black Box 116.4, fastest once again in front of everyone here in Brazil. As now Fruitful 1 second down from Steph, loses the DRS range if it gets back to dry conditions later on. Can he keep hold of that 1 second gap? Hopefully for him he can. Noah Jones closing up on Shane, and Shane closing up on Fruitful. Can Shane maybe make a move somewhere in the infield or maybe on the main straight? As we're waiting for the track to dry up. And that start, looking back at the start, it's reminiscent of Hungary 2021 real life. That's how chaotic it was. Absolute brilliant start from Black Box, which still leaves him in the lead of the race. Now Shane pushing a little bit to get past Fruitful, who's 1.1 second down on Steph. And Davey getting ever closer to his teammate Damiano. I think that was a warning for Davey. Getting a 3-second time penalty might be disastrous for the McLaren driver, so he'll try not to get a time penalty here. Steph is ever closer to Davey. He is closing up so much. He's 2/10 behind the championship leader. And if Davey gets relegated down to P7, P7, that will still be enough for the championship. P8 will still be enough for the championship. P9 will not hand him the championship, but there's possibilities in the race for Davey to lose out on everything. Black Box to gain everything. Black Box does not have anything to lose with the position he's in the championship. He's everything to gain. For Davey, It's all or nothing here at Interlagos, which as always puts on a good championship decider. Unfortunately, in real life, the championship decider has been moved to Abu Dhabi, as now Noah Jones getting closer to the back of Shane. TFL Jerry gets a 3-second time penalty. Noah not able to make the move on Shane into the left-hander. Joey is almost 17 seconds down on Jerry as Noah gets a 3-second time penalty of his own. Oh no! Shane almost loses his car as he gets a 3-second time penalty for that incident by crossing over the white line. Oh no! Noah losing his car by accelerating onto the power, and he loses his car, now down in P12. Only in front of Joey, the guy we spoke about a few seconds before. Now, no, once again accelerating onto the grass, and hopefully for him he won't be disqualified from the race, as Milan now sets the fastest lap of the race, 16.3. So he ups his pace and tries to get past Kaya in front of him. Can Milan make it a double Mercedes podium? And don't be so sure about a double Mercedes podium as of yet, because anything can happen. As we said before, Noah Jones gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, retires in the pit lane. There's only 12 drivers left, and we are not even halfway through the race. And Julian, by not scoring any points today, might lose out still in for P3 in the championship. Damiano and Yagizan can still get that P3. Damiano looks like the man to do it today. He's in P5, which will gain him exactly 10 points. And that is exactly the gap from him to Julian. Now can't get any closer, pushing his ERS to Kaya, but can't get closer to the Alpha Tower driver. Steph is gaining still on Davey. Can't overtake the McLaren driver, as Noah Jones has left the session. Unfortunately, our man on pole has retired as Davey gets a bad exit out of the Senna S. Can Steph deploy his ERS and overtake Davey? No, he can't. Stays behind the McLaren driver for now, because it looks like Steph is the fastest driver of these two at the moment. It might just be because Davey is under a bit of pressure to score enough points to secure the championship. Talking about championship rival, Black Box 2 seconds in front of Sven in second place, and looking good for a win if he can keep this up. Still Steph lagging a little bit in the race. Fruitful, 1 second now down on Steph. He's gaining a bit of time back, trying to get back into P7. 9 tenths down now. So if it would dry up, he will be within the DRS range. As Shane behind, after making a mistake, is 2.2 seconds down. Behind him, it's Yagizan who is pushing on Shane. Will we see an overtake on track? Yagizan is pushing his ERS. Will he go for the inside? Yes, he will. TFL Shane will be overtaken by Yagizan. No, he won't. Yagizan is spun around after contact with Shane. I think that was a move coming from further back, a little bit too far back from Yagizan. So I think that's his own mistake, but he had to try it to get past the Haas. And now he's in P11, outside the points being positions. And for his chance of P3 in the championship, that is not the thing he wants. And looking in front, the closest back gap on the track is this Steph and Davey. 5 tenths, 6 tenths Still, the gap is around 5-6 tenths. After around 10 laps of racing on these Inter tires. Davey, looking at the ERS, he has 44% of ERS left, and Steph has around 35% of ERS left, so a little bit less than Davey. But in the rain, you gain a lot more ERS back than you would normally do in the dry. Fruitful getting a better exit out of the center as losing out a few tenths to the gap to Steph. And Milan in front, still behind Kaya, trying to push to get past. Sven now makes inroads on Black Box in front of the field. 1.5 seconds down on Black Box. As Joey now crosses the line to go into lap 20. He's 27 seconds down on Yagizan in P11 after making the dive on Shane. Yagizan is now in P11. Oh, did Milan almost lose his car there? No, he did not. He's 7 tenths down on Kaya. Now Damiano is inside the DRS range, if the DRS will be activated in just a few laps time, when we will get to dry tires. But will it happen in time for the race to end? Will we see dry tires this race? I think we will, and that might spice the race up even more than we've seen up till now. Giagizan says the fastest lap is 16.2, is determined to get back to the pack and is 6 tenths behind Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo in P10. So for the final points being positioned, can Giagizan now overtake the Alfa Romeo? Still Steph is trying to get closer to Davey, and Fruitful is gaining ever more on these two as well. Davey has lost out to Damiano, his teammate, is 1.7 seconds down, 1.6 seconds now. And it does not look like he's gaining on his teammate. Steph is putting massive pressure on Davey. Yagizan now talking about pressurizing Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo. As the rain seems to get lighter and lighter, it might be time for the dry tires soon. Jerry gets a bad exit, but so does Yagizan. Yagizan is pushing a little bit of ERS. Jerry, how much ERS does he have? 17% only. So Yagizan does actually have the advantage in ERS levels. Gets closer on the braking, but not close enough for the overtake. As now Yagizan gets a good exit out of the Senna S's, but almost loses his car. He does lose his car. Can he keep it out of the barriers? Just. He keeps it on track, and after making a mistake once again, almost crashed his car into the wall. And now has to gain back the few seconds he lost to Jerry once again to get close to an overtake. Now Fruitful 5 tenths behind Steph, putting the pressure on Steph instead of Steph putting the pressure on Davey. And it looks like the rain is almost about to end. I think within 3 laps we'll see the dry tires. I think the dry tires are not far away. Will someone go into the pit lane? Not as of yet. There's still a little bit of rain, but not a lot. The track, of course, is still wet. But this man, Black Box, he would have wanted for the race to end on the Inter tires, because he's just comfortably leading the race. And with Sven behind, having the 5-second time penalty, might be deleted later on in the race. I don't know what he got 5 times. Oh yeah, he got it for collision with Black Box. Might have been deleted after the race. But as it stands now, even if Black Box finishes P2 behind Sven, he will be the winner of the race. Davey losing more and more time to his teammate Damiano in front, and Steph pressurizing Davey ever more as the track is drying up even more. When will we see the first drivers in the pit lane for the dry tires? Let's go on board with Blackbox. Will he gamble it? Yes, he will. He will go into the pit lane for the soft compound. Sven, Kaya, Milan will go into the pit lane as well, as Joey gets a 3-second time penalty, as Davey continues on. Damiano continues on as well. Will they lose out on this lap, or will they gain time by not boxing for the soft compound? Let's go on board with Black Box. How does it look for the grip levels? On board with Milan. It looks like... oh no! Those drivers... what happened there? Where have they teleported to? They lost control of their car going out of the pit lane. It does not look like the soft tires have the grip as of yet to continue on. As almost Black Box loses his car, so this means the championship battle might be able to be won here for Davies. No! Black Box is spun around because he does not have any grip whatsoever on the soft tires. He does not get a time penalty, but he is overtaken by Kaya on the soft tires. And these tires don't have any grip whatsoever, so at this moment in time, Damiano, I think, will take the lead on the race if he boxes for the soft compound. And it does not look like the track is ready for the soft tires. So Black Box boxed a little bit too early, as did Kaya, Milan, Steph, Sven, and Yagi-san. Sven, of course, and getting his 5-second time penalty removed, as now Black Box gained the position back on Kaya. I think Kaya made a mistake, but none of the drivers in front have boxed as of yet, as I think the soft tires are just not good enough for this track. You can just see Black Box is losing all the time he has made up in front, and the Inters are just the tire to be on. Black Box gambled, and he's losing time. He's losing so much time here. As let's look at the top three. It's Damiano from Davey. It's a McLaren 1-2 if you consider Damiano to be the racing with the McLaren. Of course, he's in a Red Bull now, but he joined later, as we said already, and should be in the McLaren. But it's McLaren 1-2 with Damiano in P1, Davey in P2, Fruitful in P3. Can he finally get a podium in TFL in the final race of season 4? As the soft tires can't be switched on whatsoever, and Black Box is losing so much time. He had it all to win. He had it all to win. He went to the pit lane, he gambled for the softs, and he's losing out massively to the guys in front now. Jari van Bussel, after not looking good on race pace, he's in P5 now. Shane is in P4, almost getting a podium, as Fruitful is in P3, a good position for him. When will the DRS be activated? That is usually a sign for the drivers to go on to the dry tire compounds. Oh, losing so much time. I can't feel... I feel so bad for Black Box here. He was leading the race comfortably, and now is losing out so much. And as we said, anything can happen in this race. And this was not the thing I expected to see, as Black Box sets the fastest lap on the intermediate tires. Telling you, the softs are definitely not the tire to be on. And Davey actually being put under pressure from Fruitful. If Fruitful now pushes a little bit more towards Davey. Davey having 46% of ERS left. Same for Fruitful. As we see Joey now overtaking Steph, overtaking Yagi-san. The Inters are just a tire to be on. The softs are not working at all. Might we see Black Box getting lapped. Look at where Damiano is. He's in the infield. He's now getting towards the rear of Yagi-san. So the top 5 are almost going to lap the soft runners here. This is absolutely horrible for the soft runners. Oh, as Yagi-san went off the track, soft tire is not working. Steph realizing it. Soft tires are not working. Switching to the intermediate now. And Yagi-san going into the pit lane as well. I think he has some damage. And Joey into P10 now is pushing on ERS to try to overtake Sven. Sven on the soft compound of tire does not have the grip to defend from Joey whatsoever. Joey staying behind because he does not want to risk the move going into the right-hander. He does risk going into the right-hander, and he overtakes Sven going up into P9. Joey into P9 and now trying to overtake Milan in the Mercedes for P8. Can he get back into P8? He now accelerates out of the right-hander, left-hander. Into the right-hand hairpin, still close behind Milan. Does he have the grip, Joey, to now make the move on the Mercedes? Still no DRS in effect as Milan loses control of his car. Soft tire still not working, and Joey having the superior pace on the old Inters. 70-lap old Inters, still better than the soft tires. Now Joey at the rear of the Mercedes, now side by side with the Mercedes on the main straight. They are side by side, and Joey back into P8. The Mercedes trying to brake later than the Ferrari, but the Ferrari having the superior grip and now overtaking the Mercedes of Milan. But when will the points in the race come where the soft tires will be better? Will there be a point in the race where the soft tires will be better? Jerry van Bussen got a 3-second time penalty. He's in P5. Kaya now getting close to black box. It looks like getting a little bit more grip than previously, but still no grip whatsoever on these old softs. And 20-lap old Inters, will they hold on until the end of the race? I think they will. So no worry about tire wear. But can Kaya get in front of Black Box? Both struggling on the soft compound. Kaya has to stay behind a little bit longer. Black Box, I think he's been lapped, hasn't he? No, he's still not lapped, but some drivers are now lapping others. Sven is about to be lapped by Fruitful, as Sven has already been lapped. Oh no, there's contact! Both cars who made contact is Joey. Joey made contact with Milan. As a few drivers now into the pit lane, Fruitful continues on the intermediate. There was a notification for DRS enabled, I thought. That means the soft tires are now getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and Damiano and Davey both boxing at the same time, going onto the soft tires and looking to Fruitful. I think he's missing out here by not boxing at the exact moment that Damiano and Davey did, but let's see if that holds true. Now Yagi-san setting the fastest lap on the soft tires. And that means the softs are now definitely getting faster, and you can see Fruitful not having any grip whatsoever on the Inters, and Damiano gaining a lot of time on these soft tires on Fruitful. Can Fruitful though stay ahead of Shane in P4 for the podium, for the final podium position? Because I don't think Fruitful will be ahead of Damiano or Davey. And looking at these two drivers, Davey in the DRS range of his teammate. Black Box now setting fast lap Grand Prix of 14.7. And he was on the old softs. Now Sven at 14.0. It's Fruitful into the pit lane for the change to the soft tires. Now looking at Shane, as there is side-by-side action between Joey. Joey going into the pit lane. Joey having 14 seconds on Steph. So that means Joey will be relegated down to P12 because Yagi-san is close behind as well. Kaya on Black Box, 5 tenths behind. Can he make the overtake for P6 in the race? So now Yagi-san sets the fastest lap for the race and 1:11.8. Still not in the points being positions, so won't get the 2 points for fastest lap at this moment in time. Can Kaya maybe make the move on black box? Milan gets a 3-second time penalty in P9. As Kaya still within the DRS range. Davy also within the DRS range of Damiano, and Fruitful getting ahead of Shane. 1.8 seconds in front of Shane. As Black Box now sets a fast lap of the Grand Prix, trying to get away from Kaya, but Kaya gaining a lot of time in that final sector. Can he now make the move maybe into the left-hander of turn 4? He activates the DRS, and the ERS is gaining on Black Box, but not enough to make the overtake work, as Davy now 1 second behind Damiano, as Damiano sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, showing he has the pace to win this race. Remember, Damiano started from the last position on the grid, and with this drama, he stayed out of problems, he stayed out of any trouble, and now finds himself leading a race. But looking behind it, oh no, did car there go off? Was that Milan going off? No, he's on the track, but looked like Milan went off. Going back here, they are teammates usually for McLaren, but now Davy finds himself battling a Red Bull. But still, they remember it is McLaren 1-2. As Milan now goes off track, I think to let Davy through. Will he leave Davy? Let Davy through? No, he won't. He does have the DRS from Milan and Damiano. Get to Damiano 7/10 of a second. As now Kaya is close behind down Black Box as well. Davy now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix at 108.3. Now let's go on board with Davy. Can he now maybe set up a move for the left-hander? He has 8% of ERS left. Damiano has 35% of ERS left. Davy is gaining with the DRS. Milan is gaining with the DRS as well, but he is a back marker, so he will be let through. Davy will be let through by him. Davy still in P2. Can't overtake his teammate as of yet. Still close behind Black Box, and apart from the incidents we've seen, not a lot of overtaking maneuvers, but the battles we've had have been really good, and this is going to be one of those battles. Black Box against Kaya. Kaya going to the right hand side of the track. Damiano, Black Box trying to defend, but he was powerless to defend against Kaya. But now, can Black Box get back ahead of Kaya? He does have a bit of ERS to use, he does have DRS. Does he stay behind Kaya? He does stay behind Kaya, so still Kaya after the same as is still ahead. But Kaya getting a bad exit out of the left-hander. Can Black Box maybe set up a move for the double right-hander? No, he can't, but he does think about it. Does he go for a dive bomb? No, he won't, but he pushes Kaya into mistake? No, he does not. Now looking to Davy and Damiano. Davy trying to make the move on Damiano. Can't make it work as of yet. Stays behind still. 0.3 of a second is the gap. 22% of ERS. Damiano has 40% of ERS left, so he has the ERS to defend Damiano. So still can get the race victory. Davy is trying to get the victory. Looking at the previous tactics he used, trying to get an overtake done on one of the final laps of the race to get in front of the Red Bull driver, so that Damiano does not have any chance whatsoever to get a move back on Davy. That's the thing that Davy is thinking. Davy now gaining and 0.3 of a second behind the Red Bull driver, now trying to get a good exit out of the centers once again, but he does not get the better exit. Damiano has the better exit. It's the 35th lap of 36, so one more lap after this one, and that will decide the winner of the race. Black Box now still behind Kaya after Kaya overtook Black Box. The gap is also 0.3 of a second. Behind them is Sven in P8. Now Black Box, can he get the move on back on Kaya. Kaya and Black Box wanting to give each other the DRS, and it is Kaya who does not have the DRS. It's Black Box who has the DRS, and they know this is crucial for P6 in the race. Looking behind, Davy and Damiano now coming out the final corner to go on to the main straight. Black Box did not get the move on Kaya. Now let's go back to the battle for the lead. Kaya got a 3-second time penalty exiting the Senna S, and I think Kaya will hold on to P6. Yes, he will. Now it's the final chance for Davy to get back into the lead of the race. Can he maybe win the championship with a victory to his name in the final race of the season? As of yet, he can't. He's still behind Damiano in the Red Bull. And he has one more chance as Yagizan and Steph are battling at the Senna S. Yagizan getting into P10. Steph still alongside him. They are side by side, but Yagizan has the DRS. Gets ahead of Steph. Steph trying to go around the outside. He does think about it. He leaves the track. He gains the place, gives it back to Yagizan. Yagizan up P11. Steph still on the inside. Yagizan trying to go for the around the outside. He does not manage to do so and is now in P11. But Davy trying to get one more move on Damiano before the finish line. He does not do it. Yet Damiano wins the Grand Prix. But it is Davy who takes home the Drivers' Championship. It's Davy who wins TFL Season 4. And I think Damiano got a time penalty somewhere in the race because Davy has won the race as well. As Fruitful completes the podium, Davy wins the Grand Prix in Sao Paulo and with it wins the championship. Amazing result for Davy as Shane gets P4, Jerry van Bussel gets P5, but it's still Black Box who is trying to go for the fastest lap, trying to defend from Kaya behind it. No, Kaya crashes on the final lap, overtaken by Sven. No, Sven into P7 as Milan, Yagizan and Steph have finished already. Is at the line, I think. Steph and Yagizan at a battle. Yagizan getting back into P10. Black Box now. He put on a great battle, but it was not good enough at the end. He finishes P6 to finish second in the Drivers' Championship here in TFL Season 4. And what a season we had. Thank you all for watching all the races, or at least this race. Thank you so much for watching. Damiano gets Driver of the Day from the back of the grid, winning on track. P2 after time penalties have been applied, but it is this man, Davy, that wins the Drivers' Championship. And we will invite, firstly, let's invite Davy, Fruitful and Damiano to the party. Damiano, Fruitful and Davy have been invited. We will wait to talk about the championship in just a few moments time. Let's first invite these top 3 finishes and later talk about the championship as Fruitful joins the party. P3 for you, Fruitful. Finally a podium in TFL. Talk us through your race, because you were stuck behind Davy, I thought, for a long part of the race. But what happened that you got into the podium positions?
Well, hello, first of all.
Hello.
It was a brilliant race, to be fair. I had a lot of pace that I just couldn't unlock. It was quite hectic at the start, especially. I got sent off like 3 times by the same guy.
Yeah.
So it was a bit unfortunate. And then the inter period, I was really fast and could stay with Davey, which I'm really proud of, to be fair. And then the last stint was just driving the car home. I'm actually really happy with my podium. Didn't expect it, especially when I was driving in the 8th position, and then everyone pitted for Sos. I don't know what happened there, but
yeah,
they gifted me the podium.
They thought the track was dry enough, but you set the fastest lap at the moment. All drivers went in the pits for soft, so definitely not ready for Sos. But great race from you, Fruitful. Davey, we're not talking about your championship as of yet. let's wait for Black Box to join the party in a few moments' time. But Damiano, first of all, you won on
Hello.
track, and second of the time penalty applied, but Talcos threw
No.
your race from
No.
last
I didn't
position.
It was a glitch. I didn't have a time penalty.
You
Yeah,
didn't
he
have a
won.
time penalty.
Yeah, he won.
Oh.
That was a glitch.
Was it so? He did win the race.
Yeah.
Okay, so from last position, winning the race, Davey not winning the race then. Congratulations, man! Talcos threw your race. It was awesome to see.
Yeah. The start was crazy because I had a glitch, so I restarted my game. Then I came back. I was P12, and the safety car helped me a lot. And then I was going to the Inters, quite good pace. And then the two Mercedes and Sven was going to pit really early. Didn't expect that, and I thought maybe something different, and it really worked.
Yeah, you had an amazing race. The start. Well, let's talk about the start. It was so chaotic, and Damiano, you went into P9, I think, from last position on the grid. It was an awesome start to see. And now our second championship contender, now second place in the Drivers' Championship, Black Box has joined the party, and Davey is also in the party. These two men have put on a great fight for the championship. Black Box looked like he maybe had a shot of winning the Drivers' Championship in the final race after drama unfolded at the start. Man, it was just painful to see after you switched to the soft tires how your race unfolded, but Stalkers through your race, man.
Yeah, I knew I had to win today, so I tried it, and I had one of the best starts I've ever had.
Your start was incredible from P5.
Yeah, thank you, mate. And yeah, so race went on. The wet tires were. I was pretty good in the wet conditions. Usually am, and then safety car came. I had a good pit stop there. Inter's phase was good. Then it came to the call on the soft, and I thought I have to get in before Milan does.
Yep.
And so I went, and yeah, it was clearly the wrong call, and it was my fault, my own decision, and I just want to congratulate Davey because we've had a really, really exciting season, and today and for however many weeks, I think it's 12 weeks we've done this, the better man did win. So usually I back myself, I say I'm going to win all the time, but there's certain points where you just get outclassed, and yeah, Davey proved that over the course of this season.
Well, Davey,
Yeah.
very kind words from Black Box. Talk us through your Drivers' Championship win. Firstly, congratulations on getting second in the race, but what happened at that start? Let's talk about the start first.
Yeah, it was a good start. And then in turn 2, someone spun into me. I hit the wall. Luckily no tire for my car. And then I spun again in the wall. Again no tire damage.
You're really lucky
Yeah.
to not get any tire damage, because Black Box could have won the championship if you would have DNF'd.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, but yeah, it was amazing to see the gap between you two guys in the championship with the points. But in the end, Davey, you did win, but it was an amazing battle all season long. And guys, I just want to thank you all for giving us a great championship battle. Do you have anything other to say?
Yo, later, Mike.
Yo, later.
Thank
Davey.
you guys for watching over the course of the season. We love the viewers, so thank you guys, and stay tuned for next season.
Definitely. Stay tuned for next season, because that will be one hell of a season if we go from this point on onwards. Thank you all for watching, and see you in TFL Season 5. Thank you all for watching.